F this company, like I'm done. Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video here at Truggin' Life. As you guys can see, I'm doing my favorite thing in the whole wide world. Stopped in the middle of the interstate in traffic. Ay, ay, ay. The wonders of being a truck driver in these days today. So basically, I wanted to make this video today, guys. This is a video intended more for new truck drivers, and just, I guess, to give you a couple of pointers and tips when it comes to protecting your CDL. So as you start your new journey, you know, and working with different companies and trying to get your experience and stuff like that, sometimes it becomes very difficult, you know what I mean? Because due to the fact that you're, you know, a brand new driver, you're trying to get your experience with the current company that you're with or whatever. And usually most of the time it's with bigger companies, but there is some people that start off their trucking journey with smaller companies and stuff like that. They give them a chance. And it's very, very important to try to protect your CDL. So let me elaborate on what I mean by that. So as you're rolling down with these companies or whatever, you know, there's so many things that can impact your CDL, you know, from experience to tickets, violations, and stuff like that, right? And you don't want to be in that position to where, you know, if you're with a company, let's just say, for example, if you have a bad tire, like you did the proper thing, you did your pre-trip, you checked your truck out, and you have a bad tire that's no longer legal, or, you know, maybe it's still legal, but it's not safe, right? You know what I mean? Maybe it has a bulge on the side, or a tear that's showing cord or whatever, you know? I remember back in the day when I started driving, you know, with local companies there where I live at, there would be a lot of times where the companies would just be like, oh, you know, just go ahead and just bring it on home or whatever, and, you know, we'll put a new tire once you're here at the house or whatever, you know? And that was when you needed to make a determination whether you're going to do so or not, right? And those are the that's one of the prime examples on what I'm trying to point out in this video is you don't want to do something that's going to compromise your safety, or it's going to compromise your license, you know, because at the end of the day, let's just say you say, man, you know what, I think it'll make it, let's go ahead and take it on in. Then you get pulled over, or you get into a scale house, and they give you an inspection, and, well, now they find the tire and you're out of service, right? That would be the best case scenario. The worst case scenario would be for it to blow on the road, right? And now that's going to be on your record. Like, you're going to get that ticket, you know, because you chose to drive the truck like that, you know. And I remember I used to deal with that a lot with smaller companies when I started off my journey, and like, I needed the experience. It wasn't easy for me to just pick up my stuff and go to another company because I didn't have the necessary experience to get hired somewhere else, right? But at the end of the day, if you keep your license clean, meaning no tickets, no violations, no accidents, no incidents, nothing like that, it's going to be a lot easier in your future to be able to get good jobs with good companies out there, because they're going to be checking all that stuff. And if you have a lot of violations here and there, it's going to make you, you know, not so desirable to be able to get hired on with the new company that you're trying to go to, right? So you got to learn how to just put your foot down and say no. And even if that means, you know, I remember there was times where I would get threatened, like, well, you know, that's what needs to happen, and if you don't want to do it, then like that, you're not going to work here no more. And I put my foot down and I said, I'm not going to do it, because at the end of the day, it's my license, you know, and I want to have a clean record in case it allows you to keep your options open. You know what I mean? So that's anything that has to do with the truck, right? Like anything that can put you out of service. At the end of the day, when you stop by, I mean, yeah, the company is also going to get, you know, a record, you know, like their CVSA or whatever, but like it's still going to be on your record as well. And as long as you keep a good, clean record, you'll be pretty much hireable anywhere. You know what I mean? So like, try not to make those mistakes. Where you're trying to do what the company's telling you to do, but at the end of the day, like if they're telling you to do something that's not right and not legal, then don't do it. You know what I mean? Like even if they threaten you, like I'd rather lose my job than to ruin my record. Because if I ruin my record, then it's a lot harder for me to find a job. So I'd rather lose the job than to lose my record. You got to realize that one of the biggest things when it comes to, and I'm just talking about company driving here, right? When a company's going to hire you, there's all sorts of different reports that they can pull up. One of them that comes to mind right now is the PSP report. I think it's pre-screening employment or something. I can't remember exactly what it stands for, but I know it's called the PSP report. And that's basically a report that pretty much has all your violations. Like it has like any roadside inspections that results in an owner like out of service, or if you had faulty brake lights or any accidents. Like everything is on that report, and that report is going to follow you throughout your career. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter if you're not with that company no more, it's going to still be on that record. I know another report is your DAC report, which is kind of like a similar report for any like tickets or anything that you may have gotten, throughout your career or whatever. And, like you want to try to keep your record clear. And I keep on saying that for a purpose, you know what I'm saying? So that like it gets ingrained in your brain, because like your license is everything. Like protect what gives you money to take care of the people that you love. It's not just the license, you know what I mean? Like it's a privilege that's given to us because it's something that can be taken away at any moment. You drink and drive or whatever and get a DUI, like you lose your license, whether it be commercial or it be, personal. Now when it comes to alcohol or whatever, right? Let's just say you have your drinks or whatever, in your home time or whatever, like we're held up to a more stricter standard. I think the legal limit is, what is it, 0.008 or whatever? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, for a CDL holder, it's 0.004. So it's like, and that doesn't matter if you're driving a commercial vehicle or if you're driving your personal vehicle. Like it's going to be that 0.004 or whatever. So you want to try to protect yourself, like go have your fun or whatever, but try to do things, the responsible way. Ever since I got my license right when I was 21 years old. I've never been a big drinker before, but I did like to have me a couple of drinks, back when I was younger. Today I really hardly ever drink. It's really kind of rare, whenever I do. But I was just so paranoid, that I just wouldn't drive. Like I'd always make sure, somebody was with me that they're not going to drink, and now these days it's easy, man. You got Uber, Lyft, all that stuff, call a friend or whatever. Like there's really no necessity to be risking possibly getting a DUI, even if you just had that one drink. Like you never know. Like I'd rather not take that chance. You know what I mean? Like there's so many ways to avoid that, to where you can protect your moneymaker. Your CDL is your moneymaker. At least for me it is, so I never wanted to do anything to compromise my license, so I just wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? One of the biggest ones, if there's anything that you can get from this video today when it comes to being a new CDL driver, the truth is, guys, that when you're a student out here on the road, a lot of these companies take advantage and they just stick you around. They might be giving you shitty loads, or just a whole bunch of stuff that happens when you're a rookie out here. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's hard to deal with all that stuff, and it can aggravate you to the point where you're just like, F this company, like I'm done. You know what I mean? Under no circumstances abandon that truck. What do I mean by truck abandonment? If you live in Dallas and that's where your company is stationed out of, and your dispatcher or somebody at the company pisses you off to the point where you're just like, F this company, and you're in New York at the time, you know what? Screw these guys. I'm just going to go ahead and leave the truck there. You do that, guys, and you're pretty much going to crucify your career at that point. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're abandoning the truck at a different location, and you bet your ass at this company's, they're going to put that on your record. Now think about it for a second. Let's just say you own a small little fleet, 5 trucks, 10 trucks, whatever, it doesn't matter. And you come and say, hey Gabe, I applied for a driving position or whatever. All right, cool. I checked your PSP, good to go. No problems, man. No tickets, no accidents, no incidents. All right, good, great. Let's just say you have 3 years experience. All right, you got 3 years verifiable experience. You don't have any drug or alcohol records in the clearinghouse or anything like that. Like, everything looks good. And then I look at the report and it says that you abandoned the truck in New York. Well, now at that point, everything else is looking good, but that one thing is going to make you not hireable. Now, I'm not saying that it won't happen, that another company might not give you another chance or whatever, right? It's always a possibility. But if it was me, would I really want to take a chance with you leaving my truck somewhere else? If you already did it once, because of whatever circumstance, how do I know that you're not going to do that again? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to make it very difficult for you guys to find jobs. So the easiest thing to do is just finish off whatever you got to finish off, get back to Dallas, turn the truck in the same way they gave it back to you, whatever. I've always been the type of driver that I would return the truck clean, even though sometimes that's not the way I got it. But that was just my personal preference. I would leave it clean and turn the keys in, turn fuel cards in. Then I get my last paycheck and then we're good to go. Then at that point, they don't have nothing bad to say. We just decided to part ways and that's that, you know what I mean? But they're not going to have nothing negative to put on my record that I, abandoned the truck or something somewhere, That's another thing too that comes into mind that I just touched base on right now with the clearinghouse for drug and alcohol related things. Like, now there's a way to keep track of that. Back in the day when I started, that wasn't active. Like, there was no system that can keep track of, your a failed drug and alcohol test or whatever like that. You know what I mean? So, like, there's many different things that can take away your license. And if this is something that you're in it for the long haul, or even if you're just in it for just to make money to do something else, like at this current time, you're depending on your license to survive. So you want to try to do things the right way so that you protect yourself. Because I've always said this and I'll say it again. If you have a clean record, no drug and alcohol related, no accidents, incidents, like, you're clean in every way, shape, or form, and you got your experience, any company will hire you. You literally can choose where you want to go because you did things the right way. Back in my earlier days, I was a little bit more of a hothead, and I was very, very close to abandoning a truck one day because my dispatcher kept dicking me around with shitty loads. But I'm glad that I didn't, because I know that it was going to make it a lot more difficult, and to be quite frankly honest with you, I'm not too sure if that's how long it stays on the record. I'm not sure if it's something that, goes away in 5 years, or 10 years, or 3 years, or if it's just there permanently or whatever. But, you want to just try to keep your record clean, because that'll get you to where you want to be in your trucking career at one point. Like, I'd rather be able to have the choice of where I want to go, when I want to go, you know what I mean, than to be limited because of something being on your record. Do your pre-trips. Not only do you want to do your pre-trips and stuff like that and reject driving an unsafe truck, but that's your safety. You know what I mean? You risk driving a truck that has problems, like, let's just say they have brake problems or whatever. Like, you're risking your life. And in life, you only get one life. Like, on this earth, it's just this one life and that's it. Like, why risk it? Like, there's no do-overs. You know what I'm saying? So Like you got to keep that all that stuff in mind. And I know that as a new driver, like you're focused on just learning your craft and trying to get better at being a better driver, being a safe driver, and you got so many working parts working against you because you're a rookie. People are gonna dick you around, you know, and you got to get your experience, you know, otherwise it's gonna be hard for you to get jobs. Like there's a lot of moving parts, but my best advice would be to just stay cool, calm, and collected. Try to do things the right way, you know, even, you know, because it's just going to do you good in the long run. You know what I mean? So back in my day when I started driving, YouTube wasn't even out yet. So there wasn't that much information online like there is today on how to stay safe and protect yourself. But you want to take it that extra mile or whatever. I did make a video on TVC. If you guys go down to my vlog playlist, you guys will find it there. It's a picture that says TVC Pro Driver on it with an accident. And what they do is that they fight for you. You know, you get a ticket or anything like that. And I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but it's something that I've had for years. Thankfully, I haven't had to use it, but at least you have some sort of legal defense if you get a speeding ticket or anything that might affect your driver's license. At least you have something in your pocket to be able to go and fight with. You know, they'll appear in court for you, and as long as you're a member, it doesn't cost you absolutely anything if you get a ticket. Like if you get a speeding ticket, for example, you send that bad boy in, they'll get you a lawyer to represent you in court, and hopefully the ending result is to your favor, right? And you don't have to pay absolutely anything for the lawyer because you're already on that monthly membership. Now, you do have to be a member to be able to get that perk, right, of them covering your legal expenses. But even if you're not, like let's just say you get a ticket and you're not a member, you would have to, I think it's like $300 or whatever. I haven't checked it in a long time, so just go to their website and it'll give you more information there. But you know, you pay a $200-300 deal or whatever, and I think they cover your expenses or part of your expenses or something like that. But you could become a member even if you get a ticket and you were not a member. Like you can still become a member at that time. It's just going to cost you some money. But then after that, once you're a member, then you're good to go. You know, it's just another way to protect your license. You know, so. But that's pretty much what I got here for you guys today. If you guys can think of any things that I missed, it was just something that I just thought of right now. From the top of my head, I didn't really write anything down or anything, obviously because I'm rolling right now. So I just kind of pulled, you know, just things that I've experienced in the past or whatever from the top of my head. But if I missed anything, comment down below. If there's any ways that, you know, you can help someone be on the lookout on how to protect your license, you know. But that's about what I got for you guys today. If you guys like these type of videos, guys, do me a favor and give me that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Go through my playlist and watch a couple of more videos. Learn something, teach something, comment on something. You know what I'm saying? It's all good and groovy here. I let people speak their minds here. I try not to block any. Well, up until this date, I haven't blocked any people from commenting something that's on their mind. Unless YouTube blocks it out, then that's pretty much YouTube, right? But yeah, guys, I will catch you guys on the next one. You guys stay safe, drivers. Peace out.
Like, share, and subscribe.